Buenos dias to the ECOS line team. We're with Mr. Tony Boyd here today. He's the project manager with Safety Management International. And Mr. Tony was here last fall talking about the electrical hazards for first responders. And that was a great episode. If you don't have it, just contact me at safetytraining@beermeters.com and I'll send it to you. All the monthly Linemen Safety National webinars, just contact me. But Mr. Tony, he came all the way from Louisiana yesterday driving. Yesterday, well, the day before too, a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tony's a great guy. Known him for a few years now, and he brings a lot to the table. So his subject just happens to be Linemen Safety National Webinar number 50. So this is incredible, 2.5 years. Now we have 50, and Mr. Tony Boyd, he gets the honor of being number 50.
All right.
The new 40, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna have fun today. Safety Management International, T&D Power Skills. We've got ISPC, the banner behind us. They're basically sister companies. Mr. Tony is associated consultant with ISPC as well, and so he gets around. He's been in the industry for a long time. ECOS now, we're at 13,000 plus members nationwide. So that's a nice little monument to celebrate with. And Michael's Power, you'll see in the logo when Mr. Jeremy, our videographer, finishes the edits for this, you'll see that Michael's Power, a very large electrical contractor here in the United States, they have actually endorsed ECOS and are a partner in the ECOS partnership logo. So you'll see that as well in the edits. So that's really great. Thank you to Michaels and your support of Electric Culture of Safety and sharing all these webinars at absolutely no cost to your line crews and your line team back there at Michaels. We thank you so much. So Mr. Tony, tell us a little bit about you coming up in the ranks of the electric utility industry. Tell us a little bit.
Basically what you're saying is I'm old. And I am. I've been doing this for about 47 years. Started off as a contractor down in Louisiana, 13 years, came up through the ranks. I got with the electric utility, worked there 20 years, 10 years as a lineman, and then 10 years in safety. Left there and I went to the technical college for 6 years. So I was training apprentices and doing a lot of pole climbing and things. So I wore my knees out, finished wearing my knees out. And so then I've been doing this for 8 years now. And so, you know, we do consulting. And what I talked about last time, the first responders, electrical hazards, basically the solar systems that are coming about now. You know, a firefighter, if they go and the power's turned off and there's a generator, they can usually hear the generator and know that there might still be some electricity in the house. But with solar panels, they, with the battery backup, the power can go out and the house still has power. And there's been several first responders in the last 10 years that have been shocked. We lost 6, I think, in the last 10 years. Due to electrocution. So that's what I've been doing the last couple years, just trying to get the word out to firefighters about what the hazards are and how they can mitigate those hazards. So what I'm going to talk about today is effective proficiency, and we're going to talk a little bit about OSHA, what OSHA requires for proficiency, but this is mainly for supervisors, managers, safety guys, trainers, that are evaluating their employees. And you know, we have so many fatalities and injuries in our industry that are just so needless. And I really believe that through the years we've had so many guys that are, you know, responsible for training that haven't done the proper training that they need. Just, you know, and you know, I totally understand where that comes from. You have the supply and demand. Mm-hmm. We need 25 line workers tomorrow, and we can't get but 6. And how much time do we spend training them? And then you have a lot of the contractors that might swap companies mm-hmm. fairly regular. So how do you keep up with their training? So that's what we're going to talk about.
Good, Tony. Well, I hope you guys enjoy. My wife and I had a wonderful dinner with Mr. Tony, talking with him and getting to know him better and better. And folks from Louisiana, they're pretty good folks. So hope you all enjoy his presentation today. Okay?
All right.
Thank you,
Thank
Tony.
you, buddy.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right. To get started here, how do you determine the skill sets of your employees? You know, new hires, acquiring employees from a different company, going from contractor to utility. I know a lot of employees lately have been going from the utility back to contractors. They have a little more freedom. They're not getting called at 2 o'clock in the morning to go put lights on and things like that. And then we have a lot of employees that swap from one contractor to the other. So, you know, how do you determine your skill sets of your employees? One thing you'll notice is a lot of the pictures I got are females climbing poles. And we're getting more and more females in the industry. You know, I had at the technical college, I had 2 females that did very well, and they climbed and you know, learned the rigging techniques and things that they needed. So basically, you know, training your employees and evaluating your employees to make sure that they know and understand the skill sets that they have for the task, and always make sure OSHA is always watching. So make sure your training is very effective. We're going to talk a little bit about proficiency, but some of the line worker competencies, some of the things that our guys really need to know: electrical theory, T&D systems overview, how does the T&D system work? Some of the safety competencies, do they know exactly what OSHA wants and what best practices are? Some of the rigging competencies. One thing that I discovered during the 6 years I spent at the technical college, we have a lot of young people coming up that I'll just say they weren't raised on a farm or a ranch. Simple skills like hammering a nail, using a crescent wrench. They were, you know, small things that I had to teach them. And you know, we tend to take for granted a lot of times that, you know, these young people coming up already know all that, but we do need to spend time making sure that they know and understand what the task is. System protection and metering competencies, overhead distribution systems, the underground distribution systems, that's a big challenge in itself. Transmission systems, we need to know a little knowledge about how the transmission system works, even though you may be a distribution guy. And then substations and switch yards, if you ever have to enter a substation or switch yard, you need to be trained in what goes on in that substation. So who is a qualified person? Somebody that knows a little bit about electric theory, current, voltage, resistance, series and parallel circuits, having the understanding of inductance and how current can actually kill you. AC power, single phase, 3-phase systems, that's all knowledge that our guys need to have about electric theory. If I took some line workers and I started talking about grounding and mentioned a lot of the electric theory terms, and if they don't understand, I'm not teaching them anything about grounding. So one of my examples I like to use is climbing wood poles. I can take a person, I can teach them how to inspect their tools, how to make sure the tools fit, how to put them on properly, how to use them, and how to get balance on a pole, but if they get on a pole, they're not going to be proficient at climbing poles first time on. So this is going to be something that they're going to have to learn and practice to get proficient at it. Just because they get on a pole, go up a little bit and don't fall off, doesn't make them proficient. Do they know how to select and adjust their climbing gear? Do they know how to inspect their climbing gear? How to inspect a pole before climbing. This is one of my big pet peeves. If you don't take a hammer and test the pole before you climb it, you're not getting on. Or if you have a hand line, I'm going to jerk you off the pole. Just joking. All right, do they possess basic climbing techniques? Can they actually let go of the belt and work when they get up on the pole? What about skills to maneuver around the pole and use 100% fall protection? You know, the OSHA mandate now is that we have to have 100% fall protection. You can't fall more than 2 feet. I could talk a lot about that. What does a qualified person mean to OSHA? The paragraph says, for the purposes of this section, a person must have the training required to paragraph A22 of this section to be considered a qualified person. So what does OSHA say? And I'm not going to read all this. The training should be determined by the risk that you have to the employee. So whatever task that this employee is doing, they really need to know what the risk is and be trained to that. They should be trained and competent in things that they're doing. The skills and techniques necessary to distinguish live parts. The skills to understand what the safety practices are. Minimum approach distances. We need to know how to stay away from it. That's part of what I call knowing what not to do. And then OSHA says to be a qualified person, you need to demonstrate proficiency. And I'm just afraid that a lot of our training, we kind of walk our employees through. We show them what might be expected, and then when they get out in the field, we don't really follow up and make sure that they're doing or knowing what they're supposed to do and know. Like I said before, supply and demand, we need 25 line workers, we get 6. And so, in the past, I'm not blaming anyone, but in the past we have pushed some guys through that don't really understand what they're supposed to be doing, and using the best practices as well as the safety rules. Now, your employment records need to show that these people have been through the training and have demonstrated the proficiency for each task that they're doing. The employer shall provide training to each employee who's required by this section to use PPE. Each employee shall be trained to know at least when PPE is necessary, what PPE is necessary, how to properly put it on, take it off, how to wear it, what its limitations are, and how to maintain it. I can't tell you how many companies that I've actually talked to that don't document their PPE training. Guy comes on, hey, stand here at the back of this bucket truck and learn what you need to do. Here's a hard hat, here's safety glasses. I've seen people out on the field wearing hard hats backwards. The inner liner not properly attached to the hard hat, not wearing safety glasses because my Oakleys are really cool. And so, why should I wear safety glasses? So we need to make sure that we're documenting the training that we use for proper PPE and how to put it on, take it off, take care of it, basically. So have your employees demonstrated proficiency in the knowledge and the skills? We give a written test. I do understand that a lot of your older line workers may not be all that good at taking tests, and I've seen that through the years. I've had guys that, when it comes to a written test, they struggle reading, but when it comes to the skills, I mean, they can go out and demonstrate proficiency on the pole and in the bucket, just perfect. So, we do need to evaluate through the knowledge and the skills. Does your training match your safety criteria? Does your training follow what your safety rules actually say? Does your employees know what your safety rules say? Doing different tasks, we need to talk about and know and understand what the safety measures are for doing those tasks. Do you follow best practice initiatives? OSHA gives us the minimum requirements that we have to follow, but best practices should be followed in everything that we do. I can't tell you throughout the years how many experienced line workers that I've seen that have not known best practices. All we know is what Uncle Joe taught us way back. And, we've been doing it this way for years. I hear that a lot. So what you've done is you've actually practiced doing things wrong for all these years. And I have seen a lot of that. So let's step things up when we're doing our training. Are you supplying the best tools to accomplish the job? I happen to know somebody that has some really good tools. I think Buyer meters. And so, let's make sure our employees have the right tools for the job. I can't tell you how many times, through the years I've had guys, my voltmeter didn't work. So I just figured it had voltage, or I figured the voltage was turned off or whatever. No, let's get the right tool for the right job and use it correctly. So what is your company's evaluation process? Do you determine where an employee's knowledge and skills are? You got a new hire, of course, if they've never been on a line crew, then they don't know anything, and you can start them off there. But if somebody's been working for like a contractor for 6 or 8 years, and now they're coming to your company, they might be proficient in knowing terminology, but have they actually done it? Can we demonstrate the task that we're going to require them to do? And that's just important for the employee, very important for your company. Documentation. If it hasn't been documented, it hasn't been done. So just because you're training your employees to do the task right, doesn't mean that they're always out there doing it right. Personal development plan. Jim Vaughn was the one that introduced me to personal development plans, and I just really see how important it is to have every employee create a personal development plan. Sit down with your foreman, your supervisor, develop that plan so that you know exactly what's going on. So for instance, you have a new hire. Within a year, he's going to be wanting a raise because he's learned all kind of stuff, but do you actually have it spelled out as to what exactly tasks that he needs to know? How are you going to evaluate the tasks that he's doing? And so if you have a personal development plan established, then your company, your HR department, everyone knows exactly what's going on. The employee himself knows whether he's passed or failed, and he knows how close he is to getting that next raise, or moving up to that next step as a line worker. So employees deserve them, employers deserve them. The plan needs to be spelled out. They need to know exactly what benefits them, what benefits the company. how can that employee be the best and demonstrate proficiency. Say that 15 times and you get one of those moments. So let's just make sure that we're treating our employees the way that we need to treat them. The employer needs to make sure that everything is spelled out so that they know exactly what to do. Every employee deserves one. It should be at least annually. Some companies do it quarterly. Tailored around each employee's strengths and weaknesses, include both company and employee goals. Be very specific, review quarterly at least, and compensation issues. Let the employee know what compensation they may have. And then you have legal arbitration. You have that guy that goes out and he showed you that he knows how to do it. He knows how to do the task. He knows how to drive a truck. He knows how to operate the bucket. We've been in a training yard. We've seen him for years. And then we come out and you see that picture on the top. He flips the truck over because he was working on an incline or whatever. And as a company owner, you know that you've got the training documented. He has shown proficiency. He went out and had I won't say it, but he had a brain fart. Forgot what he was supposed to do, didn't set it up right, may have felt rushed or whatever it was, and got injured or tore up some equipment or something like that. So, everything needs to be documented to show that effective proficiency. I always end with the greatest philosopher of our time. Man has got to know his limitations. My good friend Clint Eastwood, we didn't play golf together, but I saw him play golf one time about 20 years ago. So that concludes the presentation for the day, and thank you guys and gals for tuning in and watching this, and let's make sure that we're using effective proficiency in our training. Thank you.